All right, last talk before lunch. We almost made it. Okay, I'm Graziella, and today I'm talking about why everyone should be an AVS. So a little background, I studied computer science, and then I spent 4 years building crypto applications for institutional investors. And today I'm investing with Finality. So Finality is an early stage venture fund investing in crypto middleware and infrastructure. And we're especially excited about people building on shared security. So EigenLayer is one of our portfolio companies, so is K3 Labs, who has a booth outside. You guys should check them out. And if you're building in this area, we'd love to talk to you. You can reach out to us on Twitter. So everyone wants to be an app chain these days. Maybe the most obvious reason is L1s command a monetary premium. They trade at 1,000x multiple, which is much higher than blockchains of L2s and DeFi and other types. This is from our friends at Stratos. The other reason is building an L1, you can be the king of your own castle. So you can build a custom fit blockchain for your needs. And when we think about customizability, we're thinking about 3 features. First, autonomy. So this is designing your own protocol, like choosing your own consensus mechanism, not having to share throughput with other chains, and not tying your roadmap or the success of your company to the success of another project. And then we also think about decentralization and economic security, and basically the ability to shape your validator set to have as much or as little decentralization and security as your project needs. So the problem of being the king of your own castle is it's really expensive. So running an L1 requires significant dilution. If we look at inflation rates on Cosmos app chains in their first year, they're regularly over 100%. And much of this is coming from paying out staking rewards. So staking rewards are one of the largest operating costs. We're looking at Solana here. It's not only applies to Cosmos, but outside as well. Over time, this gets really expensive. That's where shared security comes in. So shared security lowers operating costs and the staking rewards that you need to pay out to validators. So let's understand why. If you're an app chain, you need to convince the holder of another token, like ETH, to sell their token, buy yours instead, and stake it. That requires a much higher yield to incentivize. With shared security, the validator doesn't need to sell their token. They can secure multiple networks at the same time with the same capital. So what this means, if you're a secured network, is you're offering smaller yield, and the validator is still earning in aggregate the same, if not higher yield. And we think a good shared security system does all of this without sacrificing the customizability that we talked to earlier. So shared security is not new. It's been around, but existing solutions are not complete. So it first started off with Polkadot parachains. Their paper was released in 2017. They really only got to market in 2020. And by the time they did, there were other options with higher throughput. Not to mention, parachain auctions are extremely expensive. It can take tens of millions of dollars to even win an auction to become a parachain. Avalanche is another example. They haven't really seen much developer traction, in large part because subnets are permissioned. And you can't really be the king of your own castle if someone else is holding the keys to that castle. And lastly, Cosmos. Cosmos has seen a lot of traction because they actually give developers lots of autonomy. But its success has also become a problem for app chains building in that ecosystem because they're all fighting over the same validators. And they end up kind of cannibalizing each other's security. So Cosmos has recognized this and are now implementing their own versions of shared security, but they still fall short. If you look at the Cosmos hub today, there's only 180 validators. So those validators are the ones with all the pricing power, and that keeps staking rewards artificially high. So enter EigenLayer. EigenLayer is the first complete shared security system. It not only gives developers full autonomy, but also makes decentralization and economic security programmable. So for starters, it takes those two from the decentralization and security of Ethereum. That's over 800,000 validators and $60 billion of security that could enter the EigenLayer ecosystem. And then it makes this programmable by using a double opt-in mechanism. So it lets validators and AVSs choose each other. And we see this becoming a full marketplace where AVSs can expressly value certain traits that they want to see in their validator sets, like decentralization. And they can also choose as much or as little economic security as they need. The other thing we love about EigenLayer, just to get a little bit into tokenomics, is that it lets you build without a native token. So why do we love this? It lowers regulatory risks and compliance hurdles, and you can skip exchange token listings and dealing with market makers. So while your competitors are distracted and diluting themselves, you're just focused on building. But that does mean no supply shock to drive your value, and you can't rely on a token drop for revenue. You might actually have to find a little thing called product market fit. But don't worry, finding product market fit is not that scary. So one of the big things holding our industry back is a lack of middleware services as compared to Web 2. So the average Web3 app today integrates with 3 other middleware services. In Web 2, this number is 15. So if you're starting your user journey as a developer building on Google Cloud in Web 2, you have hundreds of middleware services to choose from. At Finality, we're looking at all of these services and thinking, how can they be rebuilt in a decentralized way as an AVS on EigenLayer? And if you still want a token, EigenLayer lets you do that too. So you can pay out rewards in a native token. You can also have dual staking, so you can get all those good flywheel effects from a token. And you can also enforce slashing conditions that don't come out of the box with EigenLayer. So you decided to build on EigenLayer, you got your security, you lowered operating costs, but will you be a monetary asset as an AVS? We think it's possible, but you're going to have to find product market fit. It's going to be harder to rely on supply shocks for value accrual. You're still the king of your castle, but maybe your power is checked a little bit. So let me leave you with a parable. King Theopompus was the reigning king of Sparta, and before he stepped down, he let a council of overseers be elected to basically check his power. Anything he did could be struck down by this council. The queen was very upset with this because their son was about to take the throne, and she said, "You gave away our son's power." But the king retorted, "No. His power is greater because it will last longer." Thank you, guys.